Hey yo, what's up, everybody? Today I'm gonna go and take a deep dive into my past and introduce you to the different types of books I used to read when I was in secondary school. Some of the books in this list are gonna be good, bad, and horribly ugly, okay? And why am I doing this? Because one, I wanted to enjoy, two, I wanted to suffer, okay? So, more content shall come after the intro. Oh, and before I forget, there could be spoilers. And some of the content may not be suitable for people under 13 years old. Consider yourself warned. So, before I start, I just want to give you another little disclaimer. I am recording this without a script, so I want this to be as raw as possible. I want you guys to listen to my raw emotion as I reminisce about my glorious past, my glorious high school years, my glorious secondary school years. That was between 2014 and 2019, which by next year is gonna be a decade ago. Wow, time is moving fast and I'm getting old. Oh, wow. Also, this list of books is not in any particular order, chronological order, or in order of how much I like them, because I'm trying to find stuff from my memory. So, bear with me. Without further ado, we'll start with the first book series, the Percy Jackson series. The Percy Jackson series. I remember that this series of books was very popular when I was in secondary school. And I think, wait, I've read everything in that series from what was the first book? Lightning Thief? Lightning Thief to, what was the final book? I don't know, remember. I told you, this is from my memory, so I don't remember. And the thing that really drew a lot of people to this series is one, the way their author Rick Riordan, I hope I'm pronouncing his name correctly, merged between Greek mythology, urban fantasy, and your average, middle school humor. The whole concept behind this series is really cool. I like the way the characters are all very relatable teens, and and the humor and the sense of humor, especially Percy Jackson. He was so crazy. And I like the idea of having the whole Greek mythology thingy. And I remember reading that actually the author Rick Riordan was, or I'm not sure if he is still, I think he was a history teacher. He would teach history. And yeah, again, I'm telling you, this is off my memory. There's no research involved. There is no knowing dates, knowing professions, knowing names. Yeah, so I was saying the cast of character was so funny. I remember that I used to take a liking to what's his name again? Nico D'Angelo. Oh my god, Nico D'Angelo. He was a favorite for a lot of people. Especially he was son of Hades. Son of Hades. And I used to like him until when I was reading Heroes of Olympus, I found out the sad truth. And I remember I was weirded out by it because why? Yeah. I read Percy Jackson. I liked it, and obviously I read Heroes of Olympus. I have some of the books. I have the Son of Neptune. I have Mark of Athena, where I got my heart broken, where I finally discovered Nico D'Angelo's true self. Okay, and I have the do I have House of Hades? And no, I don't have House of Hades. I have Blood of Olympus. And they were still funny, although I don't know, I've read people were kind of like mixed between the whole, mixing between the Roman gods and the Greek gods and highlighting the dichotomy between them. And it's like they're all acting like they are bipolar, like they suffer from certain bipolarism. I don't know if that's an accurate medical term, because yeah, so that was it. And I read more other books by the author. I really like the Red Pyramid. I think the Red Pyramid series, the one with the ancient Egyptians, was really underrated. I like Carter and Sadie. Wow, I can't believe I remember their names. Yeah, Carter and Sadie, I really liked them so much. I liked some of I really liked the pop culture references. It was so funny. And I believe that after the Greek gods and the Roman gods and the ancient Egyptian gods, the author started writing more. He started going into Viking mythology. Norse mythology, and I think the first book, that was Magnus Chase and the Sword of Summer, if I remember correctly, came out when I was doing my final year of O level or the beginning of AS level. I'm not sure. If you're British, you would know what I'm talking about, okay? The British educational system, because I used to study in a British curriculum school. I remember reading that. I was obviously really excited to read that because the same author, you would really like to read. If you liked an author, you would like to read more from that author. But I was kind of disappointed with that book because one of the characters, I did not like one of the characters at all, because okay, wait, let me try to figure out who. Let me try to say it in a way that doesn't. Okay, so Magnus Chase and the Sword of Summer. If I remember the plot correctly, there's Magnus Chase, who is the son of, I think, the descendant of Thor, and they're trying to find a sword which was lost, and because when if the sword was something to do with Valhalla and the Fenris wolf, who is like this big wolf, who's the son of Loki. Yes, Loki has a son who is a big gigantic wolf. Read about it, it's weird. And on his journey, he teams up with a girl, and this girl happens to be Arab American, and not just any Arab American, she's Muslim. So obviously, since she was literally kind of me, I'm not American, but I am Arab and Muslim, so I thought, oh wow, and she kind of like was wearing hijab. I was like, oh wow, that is so cool, hashtag representation. But then suddenly they put her as the daughter of Loki. I'm like, how is this even possible? Who are you? What? Why? I was like, this is so wrong. You can't mix two of those concepts together. Either you do paganism or you do the religion of God. You cannot mix paganism with the religion of God. That's so messed up. So yeah, I quit that series. I was like, yeah, goodbye. Yeah. I think that's it, which is a shame because I liked it. But if there's one book I would like to recommend for you from that series, is the standalone. It's like a spin-off. Well, it's not really a spin-off. It's like a book guide. It's Percy Jackson and the Gods of Olympus, I believe. The gods of something. Yeah, it's this standalone book that talks about the Greek myths, the origins of the Greek myths, and how the world was created according to the Greek myth, the inception of the Titans and the Olympians and all these crazy dramas that are happening. And yeah, it's really funny. Oh, also, something I remember of. I kind of liked Aries. I don't know why. He has one chapter. That's literally goes like in the book and the Gods of Olympus. Yeah, Percy Jackson, the Gods of Olympus. He has a special chapter dedicated to him, and the title, and I really remember this correctly. It says Aries, every manly man. Aries, the manly man's manly man, or something like that. Yeah, it was so funny. It's like he's all Rambo and everything all in one. Yeah. So that was it for the series. And on to our next series of books that I remember reading was Divergent. Divergent, yes. A lot of these young adult dystopian fantasy. I mean, not dystopian fantasy. This is not fantasy. Or is it a fantasy? Do we consider dystopian fiction as fantasy? I don't know. Let me know in the comments below. Yeah, so Divergent series. Don't ask me who wrote this book because I forgot who the author was. And if you're the author or a fan of this book, I am very sorry because I forgot your name. Anyway, so if I remember Divergent series correctly, so there was this girl, her name is Triss, and there was a guy named Four. And okay, let me start from the beginning, because let me try, it's kind of coming back to me. Whew. Okay, so in the beginning, no, not in the beginning, so there's it's a post-apocalyptic universe. I think it was after some war. So the humanity, I mean people of America, were divided into factions. You had to be a part of one faction. I think there was Erudite, there was Candor, there was Dauntless, and there was another one. Who's the fourth one? It was the one with the peaceful one, the one where the main character Triss, her family belonged to that group. Erudite, Candor, Dauntless, and I don't know, it's the hippie, peaceful, submissive people one. And so they do this test, and when you come of age, they do this test, and then they will sort you in to find what's wrong with me, bro. It's basically like your house system in any school. In any school, the house system, they will sort you according to the houses that they have. It's the same thing. They do the serum thingy, and then they will give you a simulation or something, and then they will determine which faction you will belong to. And obviously our main character Triss, she did not belong to any faction, so she was called Divergent, although she went with the Dauntless gang. And in the Dauntless gang, not the leader, but he was like one of the top people there. His name was Four. And Four was everybody's crush. Like, we used to, because I studied in a very segregated environment, okay? So I went to an all-girls school kind of a thing. I mean, my school was mixed, but they separated between the boys and the girls. Oh, fun days of my life, freedom, no boys. Wow, freedom. Yeah, sorry. Yeah. So, us girls, especially us bookish girls, we used to have a crush on Ford. It's like, oh my god, Ford, so cute. And he's like the dark, he's not dark, he's kind of like brooding, a little tough guy, kind of a person. And the cherry on top of the cake, which is, the tattoos, wow, oh wow. And I don't remember much. I don't know. I don't think I was actually into these dystopian, young adult dystopian fiction. Yeah, it wasn't that interesting to me personally, but to some people, like, they cried, especially at the ending of Allegiant. Yeah, Allegiant. That was the final book. And I also read one of my friends actually was crying, like, in the very end, after what happened and the whole battle, it was kind of sad, honestly. I kind of sympathized a lot with Four because of his sad past and the way his father was abusing him and all that stuff. And I really felt sad for him when the love of his life just vanishes, gone. Yeah, it was sad. But at least the people got to be liberated and they got to live their normal lives. Cool. I remember when they were making the movie series. The movie series were going through so much trouble. Like, they weren't as popular as the other popular dystopian fiction novels, which was the Hunger Games series. Yeah, I think they did not do the adaptation of the third book. I think so. Yeah, they didn't. I think they did the first movie, Divergent, and the second movie, Insurgent, and then they quit doing these movies. I also read the standalone series, the standalone side novel, which was based on Four. It was things from Four's perspective, and I think it was cool. There isn't much to say about the series because it wasn't that wahaha series that has had that big of an impact in our school. No, not much. I'm not sure about what the boys were reading, but I know the girls, they were kind of liked it. And which brings us to the third series that I remember. Oh my god. Actually, yeah, this particular series, oh my god. In fact, this series really inspired me to make this video because I remembered the series and I thought, why don't I just talk about all the different books that I used to read when I was younger? And this particular series, I remember, oh my god, the frustration. The writing was so bad. In case you are wondering what book series I'm talking about, it's the Hush Hush series by Rebecca Fitzpatrick. And oh my god, I don't think that this book was this book series was as famous as the other YA novels that were popular during the early 2000s, but because I haven't seen many people on the internet talk about it, so I would just assume that it was kind of somewhat popular-ish. Okay, it wasn't that popular even in our school. And and if you read the book series, you would know why. First of all, I'm wondering, I mean, even back then, I was wondering whether the author who wrote this book, was she our age, like was she in her teens, or was she much older? Like how it's so, I don't know, like, is it her English that is bad, or is it the standard of language, of the English language that is adopted today, that is bad? You get what I'm saying? Is it that she herself has bad English, or is it our standard of English that we're speaking with right now is bad? Because if the latter was true, that means, oh my god, we're in a big trouble. Like, the quality of English going so down. That's so bad. And I've noticed that because I read books, usually I read books from like the 20th century, mid 20th century, yeah. And 20th century books are much simpler to follow. They're a great departure from the previous century style of writing, where they just info dump the living heck out of everything. And oh my god, a book that could be a story that could be told in like 300 pages is told in like 500 pages, and it's so thick and heavy, and I wonder why. And even if the story is like very short, most of the story is just info dumping. And don't worry, I have some stories from that time period, pre 20th century, and I am planning to review them later. Okay, coming back to our point. So this series, it's a young adult urban fantasy kind of a thing. So it's the same, along the same lines of Mortal Instruments, and I think Beautiful Creatures, Vampire Diaries, Twilight, and all that type. It's very romance, young adult romance, cringe. Okay, so instead of vampires or magical people, the author went with angels. And angels are a important figure in many of the monotheistic, Abrahamic religions. So considering that I follow one of those religions, it was a bit like, what is she gonna do? And it's kind of weird. Anyway, so I was reading that, but and the way that it all starts. Okay, so there's this girl. It follows the typical young adult formula. It's, actually, I'm wondering whether this was actually published on Wattpad before it was published in real life, because it follows the cliched Wattpad young adult fantasy tropes. Like, you have that one, the main character, she is somehow the plain, I am not like other girls, and other girls are so vain and so this, and I am so cool because I care about stuff that really matter. And that is being this awkward woman that is being bullied by literally everyone. And just like this plain Jane awkward cringe woman is a cliche, she also has a friend who is also a cliche, aka the quirky best friend, who has much better personality than her. And you are wondering why this girl is not, why is the best friend not the main character? She has way more personality than the MC. Okay. And it's like very 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 cliche, stereotypical. Like, okay, you got this girl who's the MC, who's like this plain Jane, bottom of the hierarchy kind of a person, and then you have this quirky best friend, and then obviously there are those mean girls that they hate each other so much for some reason, and so many different cringe, very shallow type of conflict. And then suddenly, out of nowhere, this guy pops up, the who's the brooding bad boy love interest to the main character. Okay, he shows up, and there's this really cute and handsome guy who's also brooding and so tough and dangerous and all that stuff. And and he happens to be like an angel or something, and then she goes into like the different angel classes, and which I don't really understand. Maybe it's some biblical references, I don't know, but it's so cringe the way they meet each other, and then they have to have this project together, and he's throwing her shade and she's throwing him shade, and they both act as if all high and mighty. And oh my god, you would. And then this girl, she makes really dumb choices in her romance, and some love triangle pops up in throughout the series, and it's like, oh my god, should I choose him or should I choose him? I'm like, girl, please go and, I don't know, go and bash your head against the wall or something. What's wrong with you? And yeah, and because of this cringe fest and the bad language, and when I mean bad language, I don't mean profanity, bad language is in bad writing quality. And I'm like, how did this become a New York Times bestseller? And how is this even sold as an actual book series? How? It's cringe. Yes, so that's my rant for this series and my inspiration for making this video. Oh, if you read this book series, please share with me the pain that you had to suffer while reading through it. Oof. Okay, so I apologize for making you sit through that amount of cringe. So for the final book series I'm gonna talk about today, which is literally the book series that I would say rivaled the Percy Jackson book series in terms of popularity, or maybe even surpassed their popularity, and that is obviously the Harry Potter book series. I actually read Harry Potter differently than other people, because I read Harry Potter in two languages. I read some of the Harry Potter books in English and some of them in Arabic, in my native tongue. And those Arabic books were borrowed from the library, the public library, because I couldn't find the English books in my school's library. And honestly, I'm not sure whether it was like, I don't know which one was better. I somehow followed. But then again, I think the book was interesting. The sense of humor was interesting and everything, the magic system and all. But I don't know. I wouldn't say that. Although they were very emotional moments. Okay, wait, from the beginning. I'm not really into these types of books. I don't know. Looking back at it, it's like not really my style. But I really like the whole world building. I like the cast of characters. Obviously, who was my favorite? Let me tell you who was I liked Lupin better. I liked Remus Lupin. Sirius Black was also cool. Who else was cool? Hagrid was cool. Cedric Diggory, no. The Patel twins. I don't know. I think Seamus Finnegan was cool. Oh, you know who I liked? I liked what's his name? His name was Jordan, something Jordan. He was the commentator, like in the Quidditch matches. He was the kid who was commentating. He was from Gryffindor, and his commentating was so funny because he would literally roast and trash the opposing team, okay, being completely biased and against the rules of commentating, where he had to be like as neutral as possible. And every time he would say something that was against the opposing team that was playing, against Gryffindor, Mrs. McGonagall, she would scold him, and she would be like, I will minus points for your house. And then he will retrace his words, and then he will say something like, wow, look at the opposing team, they're so cool, and stuff like that. Yeah, I actually liked Mrs. McGonagall. Is she a Miss or Mrs.? Miss McGonagall. Yeah, she was like so damn. She was slay, totally slay. Who else did I like? I liked the Weasley families. The Weasleys were so cute. It was really sad what happened to the siblings. Ginny and Harry were not meant to be together. I am so sorry. Whoever whoever supports Harry and Ginny, I'm so sorry. Harry and Hermione were supposed to be together in the end. I am very sorry. And who else was cool? Luna Lovegood was okay. Yeah, that's it. It was a really cool series. I liked the third book. I don't know, I've heard that the third movie, Prisoner of Azkaban, was the least popular of all the... Sorry, the third book, Prisoner of Azkaban, was the least popular. I'm not sure. But I think I really liked Prisoner of Azkaban, especially the whole concept with Sirius Black. I liked him. He was cool. And did I cry in the ending? I am not sure. I don't know. But then it was really, it was an epic battle, but it had a lot of losses. But I liked when Mrs. Weasley, she said her famous line against Bellatrix Lestrange or Lestrange. I don't know. Yeah, she was really boss lady, and she kicked some serious butt, and I liked her for it. But there was one character I really hated so much in that series, and that was Umbridge. Oh my god, that woman. Oh my god. Ah, I mean, she liked cats and everything, but she was so evil, especially when she punished the students by making them write in that pen. I mean, that magical pen that if you write with it, it's gonna cause your body to bleed, cause it will hurt your body. So whatever you write is gonna hurt your body. Yeah, I hated Umbridge. I think she's the most universally hated character in the Harry Potter lore. So I guess that's it for today. Don't worry, I will publish more of these ranting, or maybe like life story videos, talking about the different things that happen in my life and the different books that I read when I was younger. And don't worry, I have way more content for you coming soon. So hope you guys enjoyed this long video, and bye bye and see you soon.